Disclaimer, you're gonna hear a lot of hammers, a lot of nails, a lot of banging. It is what it is. My neighbors are doing a lot of construction, and just you'll ignore it eventually. Today I want to talk about how to afford, well, okay, how much does it cost to move from Texas to California, and the things that I've learned. Wild. We've been bamboozled. If you're in Texas, like me, we've been bamboozled. Am I talking about California like Los Angeles and San Francisco? No, I'm not. I am not. I am talking about the outskirts, the middle of nowhere, the cute little country bumpkin towns with all the little hippie misfits that will surround you and support you. Woo! I'll get into it. I'm not going to be editing this video, so if there's hiccups, if I slur my words, if I malfunction and load and rephrase things, if the video is 30 minutes long, that's okay, because you know what? I'm doing things authentically. I'm not gonna spend time editing. If I'm gonna get my things out into the world, which I want to, if I'm gonna edit it, it ain't gonna happen. So we just gonna acknowledge that right now. So let's talk about the cost it takes to move from Texas to California. And then I'll also talk about things that I've noticed as far as cost of living, as far as cost of gas, all those things. Mind you, this is calculations for 2 adults and 1 child. This is not calculations for a huge family. This is not calculations for 1 individual person. This is calculations for 2 adults, 1 child, and we did not load a big, huge truck U-Haul. That would have changed the numbers drastically. We got a U-Haul trailer. I will go into the numbers. And we got rid of a lot of things. We are starting fresh. You don't really get the luxury to move cross country and bring your whole house with you. If you want to, and you got the funds for that, great. But my budget is really gonna be minimum. How can a normal, making it by, barely scraping by kind of figure make that trip and make that jump and be able to survive? To not make you drag on to get the answer straight, it took a total of $6,125 to get from Texas to California. And that covers the cost of new tires, the cost it took to get my husband and myself brand new tires, both combined, came out to $840. The cost of gas, which this number is not correct, I need to edit it. It was actually less than this. For a perspective, he has a 2003 Highlander, and I have a 2019 Hyundai Accent. My car took just a little bit of gas. His car took a little bit more because 1, it has more, a bigger tank, and 2, his car did all the heavy lifting, so it took a lot more. But it still came out to less than $1,600. I think if I remember correctly, I can tell you right now. Total, it came out to no, I'm not gonna be able to tell you. Yes, I can. It came out to $1,070.07 to get both of our vehicles from Texas to California. We drove about 2,500 miles. So that's pretty good, in my opinion. We were projecting $1,600 and we only spent $1,000 on gas. Love that. The trailer hitch, we did get a trailer hitch for my husband's car. That totaled out to $330. The trailer itself from U-Haul came out to $340. That was with insurance. We got the 5x8 U-Haul. It was really small. We really downsized. I think we came in like 15 boxes, and we carried our instruments and our clothes and our bikes, and we got here. We didn't pack a lot. We carried my son's twin size bed. We got rid of my mattress, and that's how we did it. We're starting over. That's the cost to start over. If you wanted to bring a U-Haul, I called and got those quotes, and it was starting at like $2,500 for a average sized U-Haul truck to get here, and that wasn't including gas, and that would have been a tremendous increase in cost. So 300 versus 2,500, yeah, we could buy a brand new mattress with the amount of money saved. We also got a car rack. That was $85. We put our bikes on top of the car rack. This also includes the cost of a deposit and cost of rent. Our rent is $1,400 and the deposit for it was $1,000. Registration, because we got both of our vehicles registered, that came out to $130 for the both of us. Food allowance was $300. We figured it'll take us about a week to get here comfortably. We camped in the car in the Highlander. It was perfect. That's just our lifestyle. I understand it's not for everybody. But we camped on our way here. We figured we spent about $200 on groceries a week. Might as well bump it to $300 to get those nice little snacky snacks. And we made it. We were really under budget actually, but we budgeted for $300. And then we both got our food handler license and our license to serve alcohol in the event that we got a job to work in the food industry. It's an easy market. It's an easy get-go. Luckily, my husband has his own career that he's got going for him, but I mean, why not? So that was $50. In total, let me reset those numbers. It was not $6,100. Let's take out $600 from that. So what it was, $5,500 to move from Texas to California. I know I just spit a bunch of numbers at you, but I really did calculate like, okay, what would rent look like? What would the gas look like? The food, when we move from Texas to California and we start day one in California, are we going to be able to survive until we get that first check from our job? And the answer after planning was yes. Now, can we easily, if you're a normal, hardworking, check-to-check person, get and save $5,500? No, you can't. I mean, ideally you can't. So that goes with saying, do you need new tires to make a cross-country trip? Probably, you know, it's something to check into. Are you gonna get your food handler's license? If you really calculate your rent and deposit, it's like paying in advance. So if you're able to push that next month's rent a sooner payment, it really wasn't like an extra saved thing to make our first month's rent here. We just didn't pay that month's rent in Texas. Does that make sense? So we had to save the deposit. Let's see. If you already have a permanent hitch on your vehicle, then you're golden, right? So it's all those little things, but we didn't have all those little things, so we had to save for it. Also, understandably, if you have a hard time saving money because the cost of living is ridiculous, we just got lucky. Somebody bumped into my car, so I got to cash out on some insurance. Our tax return was a little bit more than we planned for, so that helped a lot too. It's all these little things that just kind of fell into place for us, so it made it a little bit easier to get it done. Again, that total came out to about $5,500 to move two people and a child, 2 adults and a child, from Texas to California, 2,500 miles. As base as you can. We brought our clothes, our blankets, our instruments, our books, my son's toys, our food, and our cutlery. That's about it. We didn't bring a lot. We got rid of almost everything, and I'm okay with that. My husband's okay with that. My son seems to be happy. So that's what counts for us. That's what it costs for us. Now, let's talk about the classic thing that I've heard so much that it makes me sick. And it's the cost of living is more expensive in California. It depends where you go, just like in Texas. Now, for comparison, I was living in Galveston, Texas, which did have a kind of higher cost of living. I mean, it wasn't as expensive as the Heights in Houston, but it's a little bit more up there because it's a tourist place. I was paying $13.50 in rent there. I'm paying $1,400 in rent here. Also, I was paying $1,500 for my apartment before my previous place in Galveston. So when you think about it, the cost of a living building and a roof over my head is about the same as Galveston. Let's talk about groceries. I'm still mind blown. Groceries here, not only is it better, in my hippie opinion, and by better I mean you get to buy bulk items, not Sam's bulk, but like you go, you take your own little baggie and you scoop what you need for your little family. So this way you're not wasting because you're not buying too much. Or you get more than what you want and you kind of buy a big bulk of food and you kind of spend a little bit more, but it lasts a long time, so you're saving in the long run. The cost of groceries here, even at the gourmet grocery store, is pretty on par with Kroger in Texas, in Galveston, which is the same cost as the Houston area, the Grand Houston area, Kemah, all that, if you're from that area. Let me say that a little bit more clearly. The groceries here are the same or cheaper than what we have in Texas, as far as Houston, Galveston area goes. So, is that better? Is that worse? I'll leave that with you to think about. I'll give you some examples. The milk here, I'm a Texas girly. I like my whole milk. I've tried the almond and the oat milk. It's not as creamy as I want it. It's not as thick. I like my cow milk. It's, I just get a little, what is this much? Here, $2. In Galveston, I was looking at $3.50. The eggs, a dozen here, $5. In Galveston, $5.50 or $6. It was the same price to support a local farmer who had chickens. Yeah. Cheese. I like my cheese. Here, the Baby Bell, if I remember correctly, was like $5 for my pack, whereas in Galveston it was running at $6 or $7. Yeah. Fruit. The mangoes here were 68 cents each. In Galveston, I don't remember because I never got them because it was too expensive. But I want to say it was like $2 per mango. Mind blown. What? Yeah, right. So, now that we're done with groceries, here's another thing to consider where it's not so favorable. Gas. I grew up in Baytown, which is the hometown of ExxonMobil. Yeah. The refinery is where I would wake up every morning and go to school and see the flares. I don't miss it. I do miss the prices. Gas here is $5.55 for, I think it's the cheapest one. I forget what it is. It's the cheapest one. It's not diesel, it's the regular, and it's the cheapest of the regular. $5.55. In Galveston, Galveston's more expensive than Baytown, but in Galveston, it was running, if I remember correctly, like $2.50. Beautiful, love it. But I also learned that Texas gets a stipend to make it more appealing and more affordable, so there's politics in that. But it is what it is. Nonetheless, you live here, you're gonna pay more for gas. Now, that said, if you live in the small towns, it's not like you're going to be driving a lot of places. There's a lot of pedestrian, biker friendly, and you might think, wow, that's weird. I don't want to bike. I live in Texas. We don't do that. I'll paint you a little picture. Again, this is not for everybody. This is for people that are like me, like my character, like my lifestyle. It's a 7-minute walk to the library from my house in this direction. It's a 30-minute walk to my son's school in this direction, aka 10-minute drive. It's a 5-minute walk to my skate park in this direction. It's a 15-minute walk to downtown in this direction. Like, why are you gonna drive? For why? The only reason why is if it's raining outside, which we'll get into. Another thing that's more expensive here is the electricity. These are things that I don't think I would have ever considered until I became an adult. I'll give you an example. I was paying 14 cents per kilowatt in Galveston. Not going to get into what that means. I just know that that's what I was paying. Here, it is 40 cents per kilowatt. Ridiculous. It gave me a panic attack whenever I signed up for my plan. Look, I'm doing my nervous itch. But I'm not stressed because I have never turned on my AC or my heat the entire time we've been here. We've been here 2 weeks now, and it's summertime. Where I live, the weather stays about the same. It's not going to get too hot. It's not going to get too cold. I will probably have to use the heater at some point during winter because I'm from Texas and I can't handle the cold that well. But if I have to pay for a heater for 2 months with 40 cents per kilowatt out of the whole year versus paying for never-ending air condition, yeah, I'm okay with that. Those are the main things that I can think about. And I don't want to hear that the taxes are higher here because guess what? In the 2 weeks that I've been here, I have been offered so much care and support from the community. My son gets free school food, free after school care. Every day, this town has breakfast and dinner for free for whoever needs it. I'm going to say that again. This town gives free breakfast and dinner to whoever needs it. I will happily pay higher taxes if it means the people I live with are taken care of. If it means that you get to go to the grocery store and people are maybe not extremely nice, but they're at least respectful of the people around them and they're respectful of their environment. I wouldn't mind paying higher taxes if it means that my streets are clean, that the recyclable community is normal and expected here. When you go through my town here, you don't see Subway at every corner, and you don't see Starbucks at every corner, and you don't see all of these commercial places everywhere. You see town mom and pop shops. You see cute little boutiques everywhere. I've seen so many cute, like, misfit kind of shops, and they're all being supported. And minimum wage is like livable. It should be more, but you know what? Whenever you come from Texas, I'll paint you a picture because I didn't go to college. I'm an artist. I'm trying to figure out my way. Whenever I look for a job with my crazy resume, odds are I'd be lucky in Texas to find a job that'll pay me $15 an hour. And you can ask anybody. I'm a hard worker. You can ask anybody I've worked with, right? I'm a hard worker. I just don't have the background that people look for on resumes when it's time to look for a job. Most jobs that I had in Texas paid me $10 an hour. When I was a server, I got paid tips, but technically I was getting paid $2.25 an hour. In California, minimum wage, even for servers, is $16.50 an hour. Yeah, so with my husband having his career and me working even a minimum wage job, we are making more here than we've ever made in Texas. So did we come with 15 boxes and leave my mattress and start completely fresh? We did. And do I have a little bit more rights in the state that I live in now? I do. Are we the weirdos in my town? We're not the weirdos. We blend in. So the cost to move, to bring it all back, was not $6,100. It was $5,500. And that includes the first month's rent and the deposit. If you don't include that, I don't know, do the math. That came out to $2,500. It would come out to $3,000 to move here. And that includes the brand new tires and the trailer hitch and the registration and the food. If you want to talk real basic, gas, it took a little over $1,000 to get 2 vehicles here. It took my car, I want to say less than $300. It wasn't that much. I'm just saying this because I want people who are like me, who feel stuck in a state that doesn't really care about your rights. And it doesn't even have to be California. I just want you to know the cost of what's out there. And it's not bad. I still feel like Texas has bamboozled and fear-mongered a lot of people who live there because the idea of it being more expensive somewhere else is too hard. Look into their minimum wage, look into the cost of living, look into their grocery stores, look into things like that. And you'll be mind blown. And life is so much more beautiful whenever you are surrounded by people who live like you. It's unfortunate that I had to leave the state that I loved for my whole life. I think, if I remember correctly, I'm like 7th or 8th generation Texan. It's unfortunate that I had to leave that. But it's wonderful that I'm able to afford to leave that. So really, if you ever want to know if it's possible to leave, as long as you're willing to do what it takes by not dragging your whole house with you and starting fresh, I think it's possible. And I would really, really recommend that if you feel it in you that you're not happy where you're at, wherever that is, just know it's possible. Because if I could do it, I think almost anybody can. That's it. So this video is a total of 25 minutes. thanks for bearing with me. I'll post another video next week about some life lesson, or I think I'm gonna post a video on why I stopped doing art, what I was going through, and what my plan is now. I still plan to be an artist, but it's gonna be different. It's not gonna be the same. Your girl is a whole new girly pop, and I hope you follow along. Bye.